Otter Tail County can be proud of its veterans, both men and women. Whenever their country called, they responded in impressive numbers, and wherever their assignment took them, they served with honor and distinction. The men and women who represented this county during the Second World War served in every branch of the armed services and in every theater of operation all over the world. Wherever there was a major engagement involving American forces, someone from Otter Tail County was there. A persistent theme throughout the interviews revolved around water.
Can't believe it. I got on an aircraft carrier coming home from Hawaii, and we hit a storm. Oh, just a terrible storm. We went out. We were down on the hangar deck. Yeah, the hangar deck on cots, and the water was about 6 inches deep on the floor. And when the ship swayed, all of our cots would go zoom for a ride. And then when we went the other way, we got zoom back again. And I never seen so many sick sailors. And I never got sick. The worst was when they get in the shell line and they throw up, you know.
When we got into Burma during the monsoons, you know what a monsoon is? We had tents with 2x6s on the floor, and then a cot, and it would rain so damn hard that it would flow over and get your cot wet. Everything you had was wet.
When we landed over there in the Philippines, first thing, hot and humid. First thing we did, we all jumped in the river and took a bath, shower. Guess what? Turned on, the clothes were gone. The women took all the clothes, and they laughed and giggled and took off with them. Everyone was in the nude. How about that? Huh?
When we left San Francisco on the ship going to the Aleutians, I was on the ship, got seasick, along with all the other guys. If you've never been seasick, you've never been sick in your life.
It is to the credit of the men of Otter Tail County that many of them enlisted in the armed forces voluntarily long before they would have been drafted. Not all of the veteran stories came across as negative experiences.
Actually, I was a teacher of skiing and cross-country skiing, especially, but downhill too. But I'd take groups out and run through, and then get another group, and that way increase the level of our outfit. Made it stronger all the way around, and it was enjoyable work. One of the main things, they were kind of a reconnaissance to it. They would send them out, you see, to learn the strength of the enemy, and so there were. This is what I was kind of teaching, you know. It was very interesting work.
The best estimate is that 165 to 170 men from Otter Tail County lost their lives during the war, and many others were wounded. It was a rare week when at least one family in this county didn't get that dreaded telegram which opened with the words, "The Secretary of War desires to express his deep regret." Many of the veterans' stories brought back hard and graphic memories.
We were on patrol. One of our guys got captured, We listened to them all night, screaming and hollering. Next morning we went over there and we found him hanging in a tree upside down with bamboo slivers sticking in his eyelids, his lips, his cheeks.
Yeah, I flew in world in the invasion day out of England. And I was the ball turret gunner, the one that was down below. And my nickname was One Hung Low. I flew 28 missions out of England. And I was wounded on the 19th mission in the leg. And it went in the leg and went right to the bone. So I was in the hospital for 5 weeks. And I missed some of the missions.
Johnny Eli Weaver's what my name. And that paratroopers quite a bit. Some of them didn't do that, and I done quite a bit when we had to change, you know. Paratroopers quite a bit. I had 11 months in Japan during the war.
And what'd you do in Japan during the war?
Whatever they asked me to. Jumped out of airplanes more than anything else. fly, jump out. They'd jump us out, you know, in the plane. They didn't even land the plane, they just go keep it going to you. And sometimes jump out 3 or 4 times at night, and maybe same way in the daytime, 4 or 5 times maybe. They'd jump us out, all kinds of stuff, just whatever they wanted to do, I reckon, and we had to do it. 11th Airborne for that.
So what kind of missions would you go on when you would jump out?
We jump out, well, we shooting at somebody or different things, you know, according to, a whole lot, that wasn't much, but somebody was shooting at us for sure to get out and get hit.
We came with the second part of the 7th Division, and the first part, they came down, the Japs came down from the mountains in a fog and killed most of that part of the division because they just came down and did everything that they could. Killed, I lost many friends who was killed by the Japs. But when we went back, when the 2nd Division went back, the Japs had pulled out, and they went back to Japan.
On Guadalcanal, the Marines were in charge. So they said, you guys protect this area. It was by the airfield, by Henderson Field. Well, they knew it was a hot area. So Van Tassel, he was in charge of the machine gun, a hell of a nice sergeant. He sent them up in crossfire. The Japs come out that night. Well, we knew they were coming because the bugles, they were playing a bugle. And then the firecrackers. And then they come by the hundreds, right into our machine guns. The next morning, I was on detail with some of the other guys. And we had over 500 Japs that got killed. We piled them up. First we took everything out of their pockets, They furnished their envelopes to put them in. Then we piled them up 5 deep. Then they come up with the bulldozers from the airfield, dug a trench and pushed them in. Yeah, your storybooks don't tell about that stuff.
We interviewed one Ottertail County veteran whose stories were very similar to the play you will see tonight. You were, what unit again were you with?
I was with the 97th Infantry Division.
And what was your assignment at this time?
I was part of, the 3rd Platoon of C Company of the 303rd Infantry Division, Infantry Regiment. And in the 3rd Squad, I was the first scout, lead scout.
So you went in advance?
Yes, so that meant that I was the point man for any operation.
And had you done that before? I mean, no, this was your first time as being a scout.
No.
Okay, so the objective of the mission was, tell us what happened from the moment you were chosen to be the scout. Then what can you remember?
Crossed the Rhine and into the city of Siegburg, Germany, in preparation for going into the Battle of the Ruhr Pocket. The English were coming from the north and the Americans from the south. And we had 4 divisions lined up to capture those in the Ruhr Pocket. And in so doing, we ended up then in Dusseldorf. But,
Which had been liberated at that time?
No.
No.
No. No.
So you were behind enemy lines.
We were actually ones that liberated Dusseldorf.
Okay.
In addition to others along the way.
So it was, and your ultimate objective was to move
to capture, take over.
Yeah.
Take over.
So what was there a lot of resistance still or yet from the Germans at that time?
The initial resistance, there was quite a bit of initial resistance at the Ruhr Pocket. But once we got a few days in, I remember one day we were capturing so many soldiers we couldn't accompany them back. We just kind of put them in told them to form a column.
Yeah.
4 abreast, and go back until you find somebody to take care of you.
So many German prisoners. They just kind of gave up.
Yeah. Marienbad was a town that we liberated, and on May 6th.
Okay.
Other units were to our right and farther ahead. Patton's 3rd Army had gone farther. Our destination was Pilsen, actually.
So when you finally were able to liberate this town, what was the reaction of the local population, the Czech civilians, and what can you tell us about that a little bit?
Well, after we got in there, or this town of Marienbad, I should to tell you another instance about
Sure.
that. Going into Marienbad,
Mm-hmm.
and in this town, there was we're searching the buildings for German soldiers.
Right.
This one building a large multi-story building, and it kind of reminded me of the River Inn Hotel.
Okay.
And I went in there, and I had my rifle in my hand. I kicked open the door, and instead of German soldiers, here was a group of people in the dining hall, eating their noon meal.
Oh my God.
And the closest table, a lady sitting there, about like her yet, yelled at me, "What are you fighting for? Don't you know the war is over?" It maybe was for them, it wasn't for us. When I went back for the reunion was from the, we were invited there by the mayor of Pilsen. So our reunion was actually in Pilsen. And during the tour, we spent 8 days there in Pilsen.
Nice.
During the surrounding area.
The end of the war in Europe was celebrated on VE Day, May 8, 1945. But there was little rejoicing in this country, and the public demonstrations were noticeably restrained. Everyone knew the war in the Pacific was far from over. Most military experts then believed it would take another 12 to 18 months to defeat the Japanese. But the atomic bombs that fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki on August 6th and August 9th, 1945, sealed the fate of the Japanese Empire with such finality that even the military fanatics saw the futility of further resistance. The one theme that keeps recurring in this history is that the people of Ottertail County are good, patriotic Americans, and they must have always been. For that and their other sterling qualities, we must admire them.